working with the local church to take the hope of Christ to every student in the United States. This is First Priority. Now here are your hosts, Steve Chirico and Brad Skelling.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the First Priority Podcast. My name is Brad Skelling. I'm glad that you're joining us again today because we have the bestest podcast we've ever recorded. And you need to watch this on video because he just rolled his eyes at me. The man, the myth, the legend, the Larry Franks. Larry, it's good to have you on the show today.
Good to be on.
I am excited about our conversation, building strong community partnerships. We could have nobody better on this topic of conversation than you. So I'm excited for, just the questions and the comments and all the things we're going to go through today. So thanks for joining us.
Yeah, glad to be here.
Well, for those who don't know the man, the myth, and the legend, introduce yourself a little bit, who you are, where you are, family, fun, just broad generalities. Let us know who you are.
Larry Franks, Executive Director in Decatur, Alabama. We serve 3 counties under our ministry. Married to my wife, Jessica, for 37 years, have 2 daughters. One's married, have 2 grandkids, which are the delight of our life.
Mm-hmm.
And I have another daughter who's going to be getting married June the 21st, so coming up here pretty quick.
Congrats.
And so I enjoy golf. That's kind of my release to get out of the office and enjoy myself kind of thing, get away from the business and the ministry for a little bit. And that's just kind of what I like to do. So that's a little bit about me.
Sure. Well, and I appreciate you volunteering for being on this podcast.
I really do appreciate the opportunity. I don't know a lot. I know a lot less than people think I do.
Yeah.
But I do want to be able to share and help others as best I can.
Well, you didn't catch my innuendo of SEC football volunteering, but we'll go with that.
Yeah, I don't think on those levels. So go Dogs.
It's not August yet.
That's right. I'm not there yet.
Give it a couple months. I know I keep, there's been 2 instances recently where people have started giving me Tennessee merchandise. Like there was some national champion Tennessee baseball merch that went on clearance. So somebody bought a few of those and gave them to me and stuff. And I'm like, it's summertime. It's just not the right time of year to be thinking.
There you
I know
go.
the baseball and softball fans are yelling at us right now for not caring, but yeah.
Yeah. I missed it. I missed that opportunity.
We'll set us up this morning, building strong community partnerships. I know you're out in the community from just north of you. I mean, we're only an hour, 20 minutes away, but yeah, everybody can see you on social media. They can follow Larry Franks. They can follow First Priority Decatur. They can see you getting awards, which is probably why, you get to be on this podcast talking about strong community partnerships, but you're out in the community. You're involved, you're active. People are aware of you, who you are, what you're doing. Get us up off the ground with this conversation.
Yeah. So I think one of the things that we need to remember when you're forming relationships, you have to be where the people are. You have to engross yourself in the community. A lot of times when we're thinking ministry, we don't really think outside the walls of our ministry.
Yeah.
We want everybody to come into our ministry and to help us and support us and do all those things. But it all boils down to relationships. And you don't build those sitting on your couch or sitting in your office. You build those in the community.
Yeah.
So if we're going to form those relationships, we've got to be involved in Chamber and Rotary and Kiwanis and truthfully, all of the things that we would say, well, that really doesn't have anything to do with me, but they all do have something to do with you because those are generally business owners, pastor networks. All of those things are things that you need to engross yourself in to build relationships. So people don't just know who you are, but they come to know your ministry because they have a relationship with you. So my encouragement is just engross yourself in the local community and every level that you possibly can. Meet as many people as you possibly can, because you never know who is going to come and be a part of your team and your partnership. And we'll talk about that a little bit more later. But my suggestion, my encouragement to you is just engross yourself in the community, get to know your people, get to let them get to know you, and you'll see that a lot of people will come to the table because of relationships.
Well, I'm gonna not take our questions in order, if that's all right.
Sure.
Yeah. So walking somebody into this, you mentioned a few of the organizations like a Kiwanis Club or a chamber or things of that nature. I think as a nonprofit, or people, for myself too, I came out of ministry world, right? I was a youth pastor, and when I think of the chamber, I think of the ribbon cuttings for new businesses opening and things of that nature. I don't feel, and I don't see even on their sites where they're doing ribbon cuttings for churches or nonprofits necessarily always, but that is the case, right? They do ribbon. You opened an office, you had a ribbon cutting from the chamber at your facility.
Yes.
And but I don't think a lot of us think that way. So for those of us who don't think that way, what are some creative ways that we as organizations can get involved in those activities?
Well, again, everything that the chamber offers, they do the breakfast and business, they do lunch and learns, they do all of those things. And again, I understand that everything doesn't apply to every aspect of our ministry.
Yeah.
But again, when the ribbon cuttings is a great example, when they came to our facility, they brought all of these business people who were celebrating us as a new member of the chamber in our community. So now I have 150 plus people that showed up for our ribbon cutting, which is very unusual for a ribbon cutting, even for major corporations. One of the comments that the chamber made was, we don't see this kind of support for ribbon cuttings.
Yeah.
But it also exposed them to our ministries. Everything that we do, we're able to share with that small crowd on who we are, what we do, how they can support us.
Yeah.
I think one of the keys is we have to understand we don't want to just make them think they're a number and we just need them for their financial support. There's a lot of different areas and ways that we could partner with them. But again, they have to know it's a mutual partnership. I want to be as big of a blessing to you and your corporation, church, ministry as you are to us and what we're asking you to do. So again, I think you just have to be there. You have to show up. You have to love the things that they love if you want them to love the things that you love.
Yeah. Well, do you have a specific example of mutual benefit when you say that? Again, from a youth ministry perspective, my mind goes, and I'm speaking in generalities here a little bit, but my mind goes to, hey, pastoring. I could serve them by pastoring and, being a ministry guy in the midst of a business world. And that's true, right? We want to do that. We want to support and serve and pastor. People go through crisis, they get cancer, they families, accidents happen in businesses, whatever, and we can be that, but there's a lot more mutually beneficial opportunities that are out there. Do you have a specific example?
Well, we have a number of, churches and when I say organizations, I'm generally talking about businesses, of a rather large size that serve with us. But one of the things that I try to encourage our people to do is we need to be serving them as much as they are us. And so we pay attention to their companies getting awards, their companies having events that we can go to them and say, hey, can my staff and I come and serve this event so your people can enjoy the event and not have to serve as well? Sure. So again, when you're talking partnerships, it's not always a financial partnership.
Sure.
That's one of the hard things as a nonprofit. When you're out raising support, your mind generally goes to, if you're not giving me money, then we don't have a partnership. And that's just not true. Sometimes it begins with, we're just serving their company, their organization, their church. The same thing applies. And so one of the things that we've tried to be intentional with in our organization here in Decatur is, how can we serve them? The schools are a great example of that. Every time somebody gets a promotion, somebody goes from assistant principal to principal, my entire staff fills out a card and we sign it and we send it to them, congratulating them. One, it just says to them, we're paying attention to what's happening with you, your school, your
Yeah.
business, your
Yeah.
church, whatever the case may be. We try to be on the front edge of that. And here's what you don't want. You don't want an organization, a church, a school, anybody to say, I wonder what's happening at First Priority. I wonder if they know what's going on with us.
Yeah.
If it is a partnership and a mutual partnership, then it has to be a partnership. And again, we can't think in just terms of money. We have
Mm-hmm.
to think on how can we best serve our partners, who in turn are serving us by giving of their finances, their resources, and a lot of times their people. They're sending their people over here to volunteer and to do things with us. So
Sure.
again, I think we just have to be sensitive. We have to pay attention, and we have to be intentional in how can we be as big a blessing to them as we want them to be to us.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, we often do not think about that. It's easy to get caught up in what we're doing and what we need to do, or maybe even what we don't have yet, right? Whether it be the next
Right.
school or the next
Exactly.
dollar or whatever, instead of, truly having an open hand with it and building these relationships.
Yeah,
It's really
that's
good.
true. Very true.
So let's talk about the challenges a little bit. There are some challenges in all of this, in forming, maintaining strong partnerships, community partnerships. What are some of the challenges and or mistakes that you've made in the past?
Oh, you don't have time for the mistakes. But there's always a challenge. And I
Yeah.
like to think of it this way. If we don't have challenges, if we don't have conflict, if we don't have the enemy coming against us, so to speak, in what we're doing, then I don't think we're making a difference.
Yeah.
So we can't always take challenges and problems as negative or the enemy's trying to do. Sometimes it's just us trying to learn and to be better at what we do and how we do. But there's always challenges because even in the corporate world, that is where we notice this more than anything. Not everybody loves students coming to know Christ.
Yeah.
They love reaching students in the community. They love us training their next employees. They love some of the elements of what we do, but they don't always love everything that we do. When you think about that, the challenge is, how do we convince this person, this business, this corporation, that your partnership with us is not only going to help us, but it's going to help you? And again, when you think on the terms of First Priority, and you're talking about spiritual things, which is why we do what we do, by the way, we have to keep the main thing the main thing. How do we take somebody who that's really not their main thing, and they don't even want it to be their main thing? How can we get them to the table, just like we get the guy who says, I'll give you everything that I have because you take the gospel, you take the hope of Christ to every student.
Yep.
So the challenges are, how can we get everybody to the table? What is beneficial for one may not be beneficial for the other, but how can we make it beneficial? How can we have this mutual partnership to where we're helping them and they're helping us? Some of them want a place for their employees to come and serve in the community. It's a great place for them to do that. Again, they're not passionate about students coming to know Christ, but they're passionate about getting their employees involved and immersed into the community.
Sure.
And nonprofits are a great place for that to happen. So you have to look at challenges as a positive, not a negative.
Yep.
And if you look at it that way, then you will find ways to be able to tie the knot and to put us together to serve our community better. And again, doesn't always have to be spiritual. Yes, that is our heart. That is our goal. That is what we are about. But it's not that way for everybody. So how can I get the guy who says, man, I don't want anything to do with people coming to know Jesus because I don't believe in Jesus? How do we get that guy to the table, just like we get the pastor to the table that says, man, we're going to give you everything you need because we believe in you and what you're doing?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I mean, the way you're describing that sounds very similar in the business world as the church world. Like, every pastor's heartbeat isn't First Priority, right?
Right.
They're not all pastors are really passionate about students and evangelism. They can be passionate about other things, and that's okay, right? But they're not completely bought into us. So you're saying the same thing is true in the business world, that hey, there are elements, and we just need to find that piece of the pie that a business owner or a corporation can get behind and serve that piece of the pie to them with first
Right.
priority.
And truthfully, we don't think on this level a lot of times, but we have just the same amount of challenges with church people as we do with the corporate world and the community at large. Most pastors will tell you we're passionate about evangelism and seeing the lost come to know Christ.
Yeah.
They do nothing that shows fruit of that, but they will tell you this is what we do. Well, to me, that's a challenge for us.
Yeah.
Because that is who we are and what we do. So you have people who will support you, who will get behind you, who will promote you, but they don't necessarily do what they say they do.
Yeah.
And so that, again, I don't want you to take challenges as this is just the world. That is a challenge for us as a spiritual organization. That's not always the case. We have challenges with churches as well. These a lot of them are in debt. They don't have any money to support what you do, but they believe in you and what you do. Well, how can they partner with us if they can't give to us financially? Well, they all have people sitting in their pews every week that can serve. That can serve on every campus that we have, that can get involved. And I know this, once you see, it's almost like a mission trip. Once you go and you see it and you taste it and you feel it and you see what God's doing, then you don't have to be begged to participate in it. So you just have to take the challenge and say, how can we turn that into a positive that we can network together, we can join hands and hearts together to reach our community and to make a difference in our community. Yes, it is spiritual, but, and I tell my people this all the time, you have to know who you're talking to. If you're talking to a lost business person, then I don't want to lead with how many kids have come to know Christ.
Yeah.
If I'm talking to a business person who knows the Lord or a pastor, then I want to tell them, hey, here's what God's already done.
Yep.
Here's 9,500 students that have come to know Christ through our ministry on the local school campus.
Yeah.
You don't have to sell that. You just have to share your story.
Yep.
And so you have to know who you're talking to. You have to know what is going to draw them in.
Yep.
But the opportunity to partner is truly an opportunity for every person in your city, whether it be individual, business, church, whatever it is. There's a place for them at the table in our ministry. We just have to be creative on how we get them there.
I love it. I love it. And sometimes it's even just asking them, what way do you want to be involved? Right. We don't always have to come up with it. It's we, hey, which piece of the ministry are you the passionate about here? And how would you like to be involved? What floats your boat? Right.
Well, and there's so many ways to be involved. We don't think on that level because generally as a nonprofit and as a ministry, we are so focused on what we need to make the wheel continue to turn that we don't really think about how can I help them? Again, how can I use their people? You think about a business, a church, really all of those to me fall into the same category. How can they partner with us? What are some creative ways that we can use them and again, get them to the table? They can adopt a campus. They can say, we're going to take this campus. In our area, they have a local organization, generally a business, that adopts that campus. They minister to the teachers, the faculty. They do it all year long. They provide meals for them, at different times and do all of these. So why can't they do that for first priority? They can adopt a campus. Again, we're not asking you even to take people. Maybe it is just resources that you give to us. Maybe you say, and we have companies that do this, that support us. If you go and serve on a campus at first priority, then that day of the week, you get an excused tardy to be able to come in late because you're serving on a campus representing our organization, company, whatever you want to call that. And so we have businesses right now that tell their employees, if you go serve at first priority, then you can come in when the club's over and you can be late and nobody will say anything to you and we'll pay you from the time that you should normally be here through that. And so that's a way to do it. You can volunteer as a campus mentor. You can provide food and sponsorships and giveaways for clubs and again, host leadership trainings. Maybe it is maybe it's an internship. People don't think on this level, When was the last time you went to a business who you know has the capability and said, I need to hire an intern or a full-time person? Would you underwrite that salary for us for the first year?
Hmm.
Here's the reality. And Brad, you've heard me say this many times before. You have not because you ask not.
Yeah.
And sometimes we size people up and we say they would be a great supporter and a ministry partner of ours. And I don't think these guys could. And so we determine how God can use them to bless our ministry instead of just saying, I'm going to ask
Yeah.
and then I'm going to leave the rest up to God because I don't have control over that anyway.
Yep.
And so when you think about organizations and creative ways for them to support us, maybe it's an in-kind thing. Hey, all of your printing that you need, my company, you bring it to us, we'll print it, we'll do whatever you need, and we'll give it back to you. Well,
Yep.
that to our organization, that's thousands of dollars a year
Yeah.
that we don't have to outlay, that somebody would say, hey, we can't do a lot, but we can do this.
Yep.
So you just have to be creative in your thinking. Everybody can come to the table. It
Yeah.
may be in a different seat and a different magnitude, but the reality of it is everybody can participate.
I love it.
I know that was wordy, but
No, and I think you answered like three of the questions there all in one sentence, because I mean, it's super practical. Like we often say that first priority, you don't have to be a rocket doctor in order to do first priority, right? It's the gospel.
obviously.
It's getting involved. Well, all of us, right? I mean, we're unschooled ordinary men right here. Let's talk about that a little bit. But yeah, we're just, how do you want to help? Let's get involved with encouraging, equipping, empowering students to share Jesus at the school with their friends. And
you got to let them say no.
Yeah.
If they say no, you know what? Everybody's not going to do it. Everybody's not going to partner. Everybody's not going to be the greatest thing since sliced bread for us. But you give them the opportunity to say no, or maybe now's not the time. Listen, with our society and culture the way it is today, everybody's not as financially secure as they once were in business. And so maybe there was a time that they could, that they can't anymore. But how do we keep those guys at the table? Once we get them to the table, how do we keep them there? And I think one of the major things is we have to continually communicate with them the difference that they are making in our ministry. Again, whether that is financial, whether it's resources, whether it's people, whatever the case may be. I know our group does a newsletter every month. But to be honest with you, it seems like every 5 days they're saying, hey, it's time for the newsletter. We just did that. But here's the reality of it. I'll give you a great example of this partnership. We have one of the senators from the state of Alabama who's a monthly supporter of ours. Incredibly busy. He's towards the top in Alabama as far as senators go, if not the top person for the Senate in Alabama. And every time I see him, which is often because I'm out in the community and he's out in the community, here's what he says. Man, I read your newsletter every month, and I am incredibly blessed to be able to support you guys and what you're doing and see what God's doing. Now, here's a guy who has literally no time. If there were ever a person that you would say, he ain't reading our newsletter, he would be the guy. And he's the guy who comes up and says, I'm paying attention. I'm reading what you're doing. So what that says is, because you're investing, I want to make sure that you know everything that's going on, that you know the victories. You're celebrating the wins that we are having. Again, lost, saved, church, business, whatever the case may be, everybody wants to be a part of something where God is moving. Even lost people will tell you, I know students need something spiritual. And so this is a way for them to be able to do that, to give, to be a part, all of those things. But you have to keep them informed as to what's going on. Look, if you have needs, be transparent with them. Here's some needs that we have. We could go to 2 more counties and 50 more schools if we had X amount of dollars. That's who you need to be casting that vision to, because these are people that are already vesting in you. And so I just think, again, don't make them a number. Don't make them a statistic. Make them a partner. And a partner always knows what the other partners are doing.
Yeah. Well, it's one of the hardest things for me. I'm a doer. I like to do things. I like to check things off the list, get things done. But even as a doer, I don't just find joy in checking things off the list. I find joy in the fruit of the labor. When students come to know Jesus, when I get those stories of a kid giving their life to Christ, or, just tears, God's overwhelming their soul, right? And drawing them in. That's why I do what I do. I don't do what I do so I can check things off the list. I do what I do so I can see eternal rewards.
Sure.
And I have to remember, what you're saying to me is, I have to remember that the people who are partnering with us are partnering with us for that same reason, because
Right.
they want to see that eternal reward. I remember a guy out in Colorado one time said, "Hey, I'm going to give you $10,000. Go do what you told me you were going to do. Come back, tell me what you did with it, and there'll be more, right? But I want to know that what I've sown into is bearing fruit, and I want to be part of bearing that fruit." But a lot of times, us in ministry, he knew that a lot of times we in ministry get caught up in doing what we love to do, which is the ministry, and we don't often go back and tell those partners with us that, hey, this is their joy as well as ours.
Sure. And not only just updating them on all that God is doing, but I mean, let's be honest. When was the last time we went to them and said, "Hey, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for giving. Because of your giving, here's what's happening. But thank you for the investment. Thank you for the sacrifice." Look, we have a lot of people that give to us on a monthly basis. And I know some of these people personally. I know some of these older people that are widows and widowers that are sacrificially giving to the ministry of First Priority because they believe in us and what we do.
Mm-hmm.
Those people need to know, I see you.
Yep.
I'm grateful for you. And again, not just because they give, but because they partner with us. Because when you think about it, how else could they partner? Not just financially, but I want to tell you, some of the greatest prayer warriors I know are people that are up in their years that went through times where prayer was really a thing that people did, not just when they needed something, but man, we earnestly pray. And so you take those people and you again, not just numbers, not just, hey, you gave, so I want to make sure you're up to speed. No. Man, I'm grateful for you. And if you tomorrow say, "I'm not going to give another penny," I'm still grateful for you.
That's
and
right.
I'm grateful for the partnership and the season that we had in ministry together. So we have to be intentional. That one of the things that we do here is we write thank you notes about every 90 to 120 days to every donor that we have, which I'm telling you, it takes days for us to do that. We divvy up the list. Same person doesn't do the same people twice. Our board participates in that. But there's nothing greater with a handwritten note, not a computer generated, but a handwritten note. Doesn't have to be long, simply saying, "Want you to know that we're grateful for you and your partnership. If there's ever anything we can do for you, please," there you go. "Please let us know." And I'm just telling you, that sends you miles down the road in not just getting a relationship, but keeping the relationship. When you know personal things about them, that my wife's having surgery or my kid's going through this, and you mention those kind of things, you've got somebody for life if you'll stay on top of it.
Yeah. Well, it's the beginning of the month, so I had donor email down on mine. I have personal supporters that I recruited back in 2007. They've been there the whole time. I'm like, yep. So I dug out my thank you notes and wrote that down. I need to do that. It's summertime. Give them a phone call, send them a note, make that personal connection again. So
anything personal works.
Correct. Yep. Because especially not all of them live close, so can't always swing by the house to have a cup of coffee.
That's a good thing when they're not all local.
It is. Well, what did we miss? What's on the list of things as we begin to land the plane of this conversation?
Yeah, again, if I had one nugget of encouragement, and I say this a lot, it's almost like beating a dead horse, but it really is the special sauce factor to everything that we do. relationships, relationships, relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it is people that serve with you, whether it is people that give to you, whether it's people in the community, you have to build relationships to get people to the table of your ministry.
Mm-hmm.
There is no way around that. And so
Yeah.
when people say, well, I just don't know anybody, well, go immerse yourself in the community.
Yeah.
We just put one of our staff people through our local chamber has a thing called Excellence in Leadership. And they meet once a month for an entire year. And it's leaders from major corporations. You have to sign up for it. It's $1,000 a year. There's a cost to it, but the investment has quadrupled itself already by him being a part of that. Why? Because he said, I don't know anybody. I said, well, you're about to, because I'm going to put you in a place where you get to know people. And now when he goes out in public, everybody knows who he is, who he represents. And many of those people have come to the table as donors and servers and serving on our campus and all of those things simply because he got out of the office and he said, I'm going to go meet people. I'm going to build relationships. And again, when you're building relationships, you're not going for the wallet right out of the chute. Man, I want to get to know you. You get to know me. This is what I do. What do you do? And then you'll find some common ground in that to where you can continue. And I know this, every business person knows another business person. Every pastor knows another pastor. Every individual knows another individual. So you have to take advantage of the opportunities that God gives you. But the reality of it is relationships, relationships, relationships.
That's right. I love it. I love it. Well, I appreciate you, Larry.
Well, I am grateful for the opportunity.
That's awesome.
God has blessed us in an incredible way and given us some incredible relationships, business-wise, individual-wise, church-wise. And I want, as I lead our team here, I want to be a good steward of that and not take for granted what God's entrusted to us. And I want to nurture that. I want to grow that. And I want to continually be moving forward. So again, thankful for you guys and all that you do and for all of our team across the country that's out there serving. And I know it's not easy sledding everywhere, but it is possible. I do want to say that. So you just got to stay the course, stay focused on our values and what we do and what our mission is. And if you'll do that and just ask God, give me some creativity to reach my community and to partner with my community to see students come to know Christ, he'll do that.
Well, how long you been doing First Priority? Part-time, then full-time, right?
Yeah. So this will be our 15th year, starting our 15th year on the school campus. So I'm an old man.
Well,
in the First Priority world.
I think we all, well, that's true too. In the First Priority world, for sure. In life, we all are. But it's the overview in 15 years of being an overnight success. It's kind of the mantra that I share with a lot of this. Just like you said, keep sledding. It could be hard and it might not be icy right now, but just keep going. And 15 years from now, you'll be an overnight success.
Yeah. Well, and again, the enemy hates us and what we do. So just remember, we wrestle not against flesh and blood. So stay the course. God knows where you are. He knows what you're doing. He knows what you're struggling with. And he has the provisions for everything that we need.
That's right. That's right. Well, thank you, Larry. Appreciate the conversation.
Appreciate the opportunity.
To our listening audience, thanks for listening in. I hope this was beneficial to you. Until next week, where we have another great episode. Probably not as good as this one, but we'll try. Have everybody have a good week. Until next time.